Oh, motion to exit recess?
Yep, there's one. There's a motion on the floor. Motion by Councilmember Peterson to come out of recess, second by Councilmember Heeman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0. We are out of recess, and we will continue discussion on, do we want to go to E4, Police Department roof update?
Yeah, A3 we concluded to handle November, so yeah,
Yeah,
A4.
yeah, there's not enough, we don't have enough consensus here for really to do a whole lot with that, I don't think, unless Josh needs specific direction for now.
No, I think we're good.
Okay. All right, then we'll go on to E4, Police Department roof update. Chief Myers.
Well, we're just giving an update because council requested that. I know that we had Luke, your cousin, came out to look at it. And one of the other council members sent somebody out, and I haven't heard back from either one of them, so.
Was that on retrussing, or was that on just the flat roof?
That was to look at the flat roof. Josh has been working with one right now to get the retrussing, but he's trying to work with Rum River consultants to see what and how,
Yeah.
right, to try to do that piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I had Brian Boss out last week, so we don't have any numbers on that yet. But he needs to know from the Rummer Andy, I think it was.
Yep.
If he can do lumber or if it has to be steel, because it's a steel building, if it can be combustible or not. And he texted me Sunday and said he hasn't heard back from him, so.
And I do know that the one came out and said that there was a fix he could do, but he didn't want to say what it was because he didn't want somebody else to take his idea, kind of. So, that's what I got.
Did he give you a price on the fix? Or like any sort of, would it last, do you think it'd last a year, like just to get us by until we can plan
No,
something
it's
better?
really obscure. Did you talk to him too, I think?
I didn't talk to that guy.
I think Josie. Did you talk to that one contractor that had an idea but wouldn't tell us what it was?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I called him, he didn't call me back, that's the thing. Yep.
Yeah, so it was a little obscure. I mean, I get it, but it's hard to move forward with that obscurity. So, I mean, we're still working on it, but we don't have an answer, is kind of where we're kind of, the update.
Okay,
But I did have Brian Boz out. He looked at the roof and we looked at some of the window flashing and stuff. We might have two problems there.
Okay.
Because he said lots of times the window leaking is probably from the window flashing. More common on masonry buildings too. And we obviously know we have roof leaks because it leaks in the middle of the roof as well. But he's wondering if the where it pours in the window sills is from the window flashing on the masonry. And then obviously the roof leaks in the middle of the building are from the roof.
okay, so maybe the windows are the more pressing issue, to see if it solves the issue
Yeah,
to
and I
begin
think
with?
After that comment, we haven't did it yet, but I think that test case to that is bring the garden hose out to those windows that are affected,
Sure,
right? To see if we can, remanufacture that leak, because if it comes in that way, we know that's the window.
okay,
So I think that's kind of,
We also haven't had a good rain since we sealed it and painted it.
sure,
And he said, agreed with me on that that's probably gonna help some of the water that penetrates into the block wall. But we don't know yet if it rained really hard, how much it helps.
Did you guys,
With the couple rains we've had, there's been no more water ingress?
Yeah, but they haven't been really heavy rains, they're real light.
Still no mold or anything?
you'd have to tear into that wall to see if there's mold, right?
The good thing we got going is it's not, like fiberglass batted insulation, the walls are foam. I did verify that.
okay,
It still could have moisture on it, but it isn't gonna collect and stay wet like the insulation would, the fiberglass.
okay.
Foam will dry out.
So yeah, well, that's our update. I mean, if you have any other direction, we'll keep plugging at that and let you know what that goes, but
I would like to see if you could do the test on the windows, and hopefully that's just all the windows in that issue, and then we can budget for, I mean, obviously you don't wanna leak in and over the squad cars or anything, but that's less of an issue than the office space. Give us some time to budget or figure out best course of action, so.
Brian was gonna get us a price on, like, if he opened up one window to see how it's flashed too, and then go, yeah, it's correct or not correct, which then he would know. We can try the water thing and see what we find out, but was gonna give me a price on busting open one and repairing it and seeing if it's done correctly or not.
How many windows do we have on that side?
Oh, it was like
Either 12 or
14 or
10.
16 or
Oh,
something like that.
oh, it's a lot, okay, so
Because
that's,
they're double up and down, and then there was, is there two on each side around the corner?
There's none on the back,
There's one up high,
up high. Yep.
and then there's one up high and low on the south side, right?
okay.
I thought he said 14, but
So with that many windows, that could very well be causing that many leaks that add up
Yeah, and
to.
there's certain windows that are affected and certain ones that aren't as affected.
But when we walked around to every window, there was water damage in every window.
Okay. All right,
And on a secondary note, feel free to drive by there at night and see this.
the sign, that's nice, that's cool, and the building looks good. Did you say you sealed the whole building, or just the whole thing, or just the stripes?
No, we painted the stripes and
Yep.
then we sealed the whole
Oh,
building with sealer.
Awesome, awesome. Cool. Any input on that, guys, other than keep plugging away, see if you can get the windows fixed first? Or, I would assume the windows are probably needing some work. It is, what was it, built 2003 or?
Somewhere in there, 3, 4, yeah.
Okay, and I'm sure a contractor can tell you, you know, if masonry, maybe it does something in 20 years and you just gotta reseal it, or I don't know, so.
Do we have any other people that we put out a window bid for to diagnose it versus just, I don't understand that we need to take the window out to determine how it was flashed, how they couldn't determine that from the exterior.
You can't see the flashing on the window from the exterior. All you can see is the weep rope.
They're inset.
The,
They're flush
so
with
the way a
bulbs.
window works is you put like a bomb beam and then you have a skinnier block and then you have a rubber flashing. So when the water comes down the wall, it hits that rubber flashing, goes out the weep ropes.
It wouldn't be, the flashing wouldn't be metallic, like on a normal,
It could be, but they could not put rubber down in there at all and you wouldn't know until you open the wall up. They could put the weep rope and have it come down to the bomb beam course, but it's still not gonna, without the rubber flashing in there. And if it wasn't inspected, which, who knows,
Right.
or done right,
Sure.
it's just, that's what he recommended. I mean, you can have other people quote it, but this is mainly just an idea to see what it would cost, so we know, hey, maybe we do wanna invest 500 or 1,000 or whatever to see what, if it was at least flashed right. Or wait for the rain to come and see, hey, maybe the sealer is helping on that, or it's not doing anything, we're still leaking everywhere. We don't know yet.
Sure.
Once we can, if Josh can move forward with working with the contractor for the one window, once we know what the issue is, we can then have a scope of work go out to our contractor list and work on getting more quotes to ensure that they're
Yep.
competitive. you know.
Yep.
But it's difficult to, this is part of the issue too with the roof, is we can't say it can be repaired. We can't say we just need, we can put a picture if we can't give a scope of work that's definitive. Because, so it's difficult to get apples to apples quotes.
Right, and I think we were gonna wait, to decide if we wanted to pitch it to see what the rough cost would be. Like if it's gonna
Right.
be $3 million to pitch it versus 500,000, you know what I mean? That's not the real numbers, but, yeah, so maybe if you could, you know, you'll get that information for the pitch roof. I think it, you know, if Public Works isn't comfortable taking out the window and looking at it, and maybe you'd want someone that's more specialized in windows to decide if it was done right or not, I assume, or are you comfortable pulling it out and looking at it yourself, or with staff, or?
Well, I think we could try the water thing and then let's just see, wait and see what his price comes back to give us one window
Okay,
before we break it open. Now,
okay,
I think we should, that's a good starting point. And he's, after having him out there, he's built hundreds of these buildings and he's like, usually when it leaks around the window, it's a flashing issue on the masonry.
okay. Sounds good. You guys got direction on that, or do you need any more? You good to go?
We're gonna keep moving forward with, I wish I had more answers, but we didn't get him out there till later last week.
I understand. Alrighty, we'll move on to E5, posting QR code for donations at the archery range. Who would want to take this one?
I'll do
Josh?
that.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So it looks like the park board requested a QR code at the archery range to do a test trial on it. That's the information I got. Sounds like the only thing I have is you might get some pushback or backlash from the community if we're asking for money and then we're paying for the park with tax money. That's about all I have. It's up to you guys.
I think it's, kind of like Illuminate, I was saying, like, if you really appreciate it, you can decide to donate, like, you don't have to. So I think it's more of like a free will deal, so people would feel likely. Did we get any kickback from Illuminate, Sandy, about putting our QR code out if people wanted to donate? Did get,
I mean, there was comments made about that it should just be a free event.
oh, yeah, but I mean with the QR codes for donations this last year.
I guess I'm not 100% on that, but that'd be a better Stephanie question, but I know we didn't get very many donations.
Right. I'm just thinking if we were to say, like, we put this out at the archery range and we can allocate that money specifically for the archery range, like, hey, any money donated will go towards new targets type of thing, because I think people then, it's like, oh, that's cool. If I'm here, 10 hours a summer, it's worth, $50 or $20 or whatever to donate. It's a free will, so if we can guarantee each QR code will go to, a certain account, I assume that's possible, but.
Yeah, I do think that we can. I mean, we would have to put a policy together anyways, or at least a resolution stating that any donations collected through there and authorizing staff to, quote unquote, earmark it for that. We could do that, but because all donations have to be accepted by council, we just have to put a resolution together.
Okay.
That's something we're interested in.
And is it one location, like at the skate park, you'd want it? I mean, or do you want it in more places or?
Yeah, so I think, George, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the idea was just to put it at, one spot and see how it worked, and then we don't have to full-blown implement it everywhere. Was that the park board consensus?
That's the way we were looking at it too. Let's try the archery range because it's a specialized type park amenity, and we thought maybe people that used it a lot might want to contribute to have targets, turned around faster than maybe we're doing it. And if we have the funds to do that, it'd make it easier to do and quicker. And maybe some expansion at some other time in the future if it worked well, or I don't know. I think that was consensus. So we'd start there and then maybe if it's successful, maybe try it in some other areas, like the skate park or.
And I'll just add, I'm sure you saw it in your packet, the memo, the park board did have just some, they weren't against it, but they did want to have just some notes brought up about the financial management, the cost to have the finance director managing it on the back end of having funds coming into the city have to be recorded, et cetera. Security and fraud, there have been, I'm not sure which person had brought that up, but there had been the potential for people putting their own QR code on top of a city QR code potential, so staff would have to verify that the sign wasn't manipulated in any way. And they recommended a trial run to install July 1st and use it for the summertime, it sounded like, during the height of the archery season, not year-round.
Sure.
And then just to see how successful it is, and then bring it back to see if it's worth the cost of managing it. So just wanted to make sure we brought that up from Park Board.
Yep. So for the QR code issue, could we potentially, you make the QR code and then you maybe have a screenshot of the actual website it's supposed to take you to, have them right next to each other and say, this is what the website looks like. So that way if someone somehow manipulates, puts a different QR code over there, people can see right then and there it's the wrong one. I don't know how big the sign would be. Like, are we talking, 8 by 8, or is that totally up to our discretion, or?
It's up to our discretion.
Okay, that might be a way to combat it, because then if your screen doesn't look like that, well,
You could just make it so that whatever website it brought it you to was also looking like that, though.
yeah, I suppose.
If you-
Yeah, that too, that was mentioned in here as well, too. But just another, that's a pretty complicated step for something that might bring in a couple $100 maybe, but you never know.
So if the consensus is to move forward, this will be coming to council then?
All right, either you three, or either you two opposed to it?
I'm not opposed to it.
Okay. Try it and see how it works. I think it's a good idea. All right, E6 stage discussion. That is you again, Mr. Becker.
Or I'll actually talk on that one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, it's more of a finance. So We have the stage that we use, and he will be able to speak on the condition.
Yep.
But we did have that stage that we use for the street dances out in the parking lot, like Last Cow, and so I know a lot of you, if not all of you, council members who had checked it over, looked at it. Really what we need for council to decide is where do we want to put it as a replacement year? We do little repairs every year. Public Works is going to weld it, fix it, whatever, but we don't actually have it in our CIP plan. So is there a year that you would like to attach to that staff should start looking at replacement of the stage?
So I looked at it pretty in-depth, and I have a lot of, background in welding and stuff, and it's actually a pretty solid trailer. It was probably built in the 60s. It was built to last back then. All it is steel and wood. If anything ever gets beat up, you cut it out and replace it. I don't think it's one of those things, we put 10 miles a year on it. 5 events or 4 events, it's like, it barely gets any miles on it. So I really don't think we even need it in the capital replacement plan. Based on a little discussion I had with Josh, you guys are good with continuing to repair it, but I don't know what your opinion was, if we need to plan for it. I mean, it's 60, 70 years old already, probably 60 years old, like,
Yeah, it's old. I guess we can always weld it and repair it, obviously. That's steel and wood, but maybe you just want to put a date on it. I mean, you guys pick the date, or I guess it's up to you if you don't want to, but I think it's proactive to always have things
Sure.
scheduled out. And maybe as the street dances get more popular and bigger, maybe you want to get something bigger and fancier.
okay.
Yeah, like an enclosed stage or something down the road.
With a roof that maybe wouldn't stop you for rain or whatever, not that it happens often, but, I mean, it's up to you guys.
What does one run?
I have that information under one of these park and rec meetings, so I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's why we had a long discussion about it, because we thought the one we had, we could possibly put 5-10 grand into that one, even get a roof on it, and beef it up. And it'd probably be good for another 20 years or so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess I didn't look into what the other ones costed or anything, but
If you were to get a replacement one,
They
like,
weren't cheap.
what
No,
is
they
the
were-
value of the one that we have?
So we got that one used, and I believe it was $4,000, $4,000 in 2003, when the city got it as a used trailer.
It'll be worth a little more now. Trailers have gone up quite a bit, probably 6-7 grand. But I think it's one of those things, well,
Over the next like 20, 30 years, though, I mean, like, the line item would be so small.
right. But to get a new one, but that's gotta be pretty pricey.
Give me a sec, maybe I can find the
I
price here.
thought she had a price last time, but I don't recall ever seeing it.
There is a price.
Because wasn't it in the packet or
Should
something?
have it here.
It's gonna be a minimum of 20 grand.
If you were to
It
try and do
was
direct
like a-
replacement for a new one of the same,
Oh, without any sort of extra
not
stuff?
improving or adding any features, just if you bought a new version of that one,
16 to 18?
1,000?
Mm-hmm. It's roughly, what did we say, 36 foot? I think we roughly you measured it, I remember, it's somewhere around 34 or 36.
Would you like add to the CIP for like less than 1,000 a year?
Depending on what we want, yeah.
But if you're not trying to add anything to it, and you'd say 20, 30 years of life out of it for 18 to 20 grand, it's pretty low cost per year. So long as it's not repairable at some point, but if it's just welded metal, then it should be repairable indefinitely.
Yeah, I think the one we got now is repairable indefinitely. It's just a matter of if you want to add to it or have a better stage, because I've heard, Josh said this too, I've heard good reviews and bad reviews about the stage. So I think it's
What-
pretty middle of the
Would
road.
adding to it be a different discussion, because CIP is just to replace, not to
Sure.
change the capabilities?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can modify the one you have, but you still.
Right, but
have
that wouldn't be
money there for
CIP though, right?
What's that?
Modifying it wouldn't be CIP, that would just be a different thing entirely.
Yeah.
Right,
So-
we would budget for
Yeah, improvements.
yeah.
alterations or, yeah.
That's stored outdoors, correct?
Outdoors, yeah,
Yeah.
What is?
yeah.
A lot of our equipment stored outdoors, we just don't have room.
Is that the site next to the water treatment plant then, or where is that kept at?
It's at the Public Works shop. We usually store it behind the salt shed.
Okay.
A new roof would make the decking last longer. It's behind the salt shed, so it's mostly in the shade most of the day, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the winter for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in the summer it gets sunnier back there, but. We usually cover it with some poly too.
Okay.
So I was able to pull up, Mayor and Council, the agenda and item about the stage from the park board meeting. And in there was some costs, through Ultimate Events. There was, depending on if you wanted it to be covered or not, it ranged from 20,000 to 40,000. You could also rent them if you're looking for a portable covered stage to rent, was, depending on the size, around 1,400 to up to almost 2,800 per event. There's another company too that did some rentals that was able to be found by staff. Let's see, a 36 by 13 covered stage. She had included a picture of what it looks like to, I believe, to rent it or to buy it from that one company that went through Park Board. And I do think the benefit of maybe considering going there, especially if we're gonna continue on doing our 3 street dances per year, and they were very, very well attended, is when we do cancel a street dance, we still pay the band. So we are out sometimes thousands of dollars, and that does add up, so it's maybe something that we do wanna move to. And if people wanna sit in the rain and listen, they can if they want, but the band will still play on. As long as it's not like, obviously, a storm, lightning. Dangerous, but.
Would there be any way if there's a weather problem? This might kind of be heresy to say because it's called a street dance, but using the band shell at that point?
It has been offered to the bands, but per their contract, that is a contract amendment, so it's up to them. We did have a band that was willing to do that, but I know we've also had bands that were not willing to do that. The location is put into the agreement.
Could we put into the agreement that the backup is that?
If they're willing to.
And if they're
But
not willing,
there's a lot of, some of the bands are not willing to because there's a lot of setup.
sure,
To set up, take down, set up, and some bands, like that I've seen when I was working them, they have a different crew that comes and sets up for them, then they leave, and then they come up back and tear down.
What if we provide, like, the decision would be made like 24, 48 hours out before anything is actually set up? If you got forecasted rain,
Again, it would depend on the band and the
Okay.
contract. I mean, we could say that we don't want to go with bands that don't have that kind of flexibility, but I think you will limit yourself.
if we're gonna put money I would rather put money into our trailer than paying to rent one, because not only do you have to pay to rent it, then you have to go spend public works times to pick it up and bring it back. And if you're talking, call it $2,000 a pop, you could build a lid on that for probably, $3 or $4 grand. If you're just using tin, you're not going high speed, you're never gonna bring it anywhere outside the city limits, so you don't really have to do a whole heck of a lot, I wouldn't think.
The only problem with the way ours is set up is you
folding?
fold it out.
Sure,
So the roof would be somewhat difficult on that, or you'd only be roofing the back half.
back.
But still, it'd be in the way of folding. Then we would be hauling the sides out and hooking them up because we wouldn't be able to fold them anymore. Because you can take them off and re-bolt them on,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Maybe I'll have to look at that closer with you, see if there's
So
any
when
creative way.
The trailer, the sides fold in on top.
Yep,
So when we haul it down there, it's folded in, then you open it up.
what if we were to make the sides permanently up? And then build your roof off of those sides? So it's permanently, the sides are up and the roof is permanently up,
Well, that's what I was saying, then your stage would be half the size.
sure. But
Right
the
now,
still,
we're double the size because we open it up.
okay.
So a couple rollout canopies like they have on RVs would not work to configure onto that?
Oh, like an awning? An awning?
Yeah, an awning?
I mean, yeah, possibly something like that could work.
I think you just have to make sure there'd have to be enough structurally
Right.
structural integrity.
It would.
That if the wind gusted up, it didn't, I mean, then you're just asking for a liability, but.
It's possible, just haven't dug into that yet,
Sure.
or cost.
Do you guys think that you want to put something in the capital improvement plan for it, or what are your thoughts?
I got just a couple more questions. I'm gonna go basic. So the axle is in great shape.
It's double axles.
Double axle,
I don't see a
bearing,
problem.
it's usually just
gets-
bearing, so they're not rusting out, springs are okay for, so if you had to beef it up and not have to work on it for another 10, 15 years, how much money and steel do you think you'd have into it and time?
I mean, I haven't done any figures or anything on that, so
$5,000 or less, you think?
I'd say if you really wanted to beef it up and put a roof on it, you're asking?
Not the roof, just the trailer to have,
Oh, just beefing, yeah.
so you're
if you
not
put
working on it and welding it? and-
2-3 grand into it, you could probably beef up the frame.
It's pretty sturdy the way it is. It's a well-built trailer. I mean, they built stuff to last back then.
So then if we were to keep that one, what we would be really looking into if we keep it is to put a roof on it if we can, some kind of protection. That would be safe and storm-proof if something came up. But most storms, even if you have a rollout awning, the wind picks up, you can roll that back in pretty quick.
Yeah, you could roll an awning quick, but
Just
the
to keep in mind, though,
problem,
we don't leave, Public Works doesn't stay at the events.
Okay,
They come
And-
set up and then they leave and they come back.
and
Got
they
it.
won't, if it's a roll-up awning and you're worried about wind and they gotta roll it in, they won't play and have, they don't want their equipment out there to get wet, so they're not gonna wanna roll it
true,
in.
true. Yep,
I think we should look into adding the canopy of our own, just might have to get creative on how it's done. You know, so maybe we want to put some money in the CIP that we can say either we're gonna eventually buy a different trailer, or we just, you know, upgrade this one, it's gonna take some money.
Yeah, I think if you're okay with it, Council, I think we should let Josh digest that
Sure.
and come up with some potential ideas, what will work, and then he can cost them out if there's some options that are feasible, and bring it back.
And I do think the wood and stuff eventually is gonna have to be replaced.
Right.
You know, I know we replaced it, it's been probably 8-9 years,
Is that,
give or take.
is that 5/8 plywood or 3/4
I think
plywood,
it's 3/4 inch plywood, but
Okay.
it's starting to,
delaminate?
yes,
Yep.
exactly, so. Eventually, the wood's gonna go.
Just not marine grade, just regular.
When we put that on it, it was just green treat. Now, if you go replace it now, we would probably go to marine grade or something that can hold the moisture a little better.
Sure.
Would make more sense.
that's about $100 a sheet.
And it's
Okay, so for now, we'll work on more options of just using what we have.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd like to look at it that first before we buy a new one, and I'm not opposed to getting a new one at all. I mean, just really like to use the options we have if we can possibly do it.
I agree. Any other input, Nick?
I mean, if we can modify it to get some contingencies covered, I think that's worthwhile, but also, I think using what we have, I wouldn't do it again. I didn't want to do it the first time, but we have the band shell, and if we can have that be a way to cover a base, I'd like to look at that as well.
Sure. Maybe we could talk about that at another meeting about, maybe having a backup plan for using the amphitheater, if we give them 24-hour notice, and if they're not okay with that, well, there's lots of bands that want to play in the street dance. I know every year there's bands that hit me up, or the last couple of years, and they're like, hey, are the street dances covered yet for bands? People want to play local, so,
Yeah, I do believe that it's brought up as a request, and if we don't want to go with the bands who don't want to do that, we can certainly do that, but it just hasn't been the direction before.
okay. Well, maybe bring that up at the next cow. We can talk about that with the whole group and see what everybody thinks.
Okay.
If that sounds good to you guys?
Yeah.
All right. 6:52. So item E7, we'll just start on that and see where we get. Cannabis ordinances and fees discussion. I had brought this up because, as all of us are aware, the state changed their legislature and pulled the tax benefit to the city, so that the city would have got a percentage of the sales from cannabis. They pulled that from the city and instead allocated it to the state. So now the city essentially gets no money to cover the compliance and regulatory checks. I know in the last meeting, we had talked about, what does that mean? I'd asked Travis if he had heard anything about, is it gonna be a monthly compliance check? Is this gonna be done by the state? I don't know if you had any more information, but I would,
So the last I looked, there's one compliance check per year,
okay,
so I'm pretty sure that's where they're at.
okay. And then, does it give you any guidelines about how long that takes, or if there's a violation, how much time?
Well, that would be dependent on the scenario at
Sure.
hand, yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, I didn't know if maybe my idea was to add a new fee category, maybe for call it compliance and regulatory checks, and charge per hour. So that way, if we have to have, I don't know how that works, but if we were, say you have a compliance check once a year and it's 3 hours, if that's, what is that, $225? And then if there's more, you can charge for, I don't know if that's,
Can we do that?
I don't know.
I'm not
I'd have
against
to
it.
look into, I'm not sure.
Okay.
If it's not allowed in statute for us to charge for that specifically, I'm not sure if we can.
Sure.
Now, whether you want to consider that fee within part of your registration fee, here nor there, but I'm not aware, without looking further into it, if we can actually charge for a compliance fee, because I believe that that is just part of us allowing them to be here, is that we will guarantee they're compliant with state regulations. It's part of the mandate passed down.
Yeah, that they changed the rules on after we already made policy, so,
Right, I would like to see something out of the box to be able to cover that, because
Well,
We
and
were-
we did include, we did include the fees that we have in
See that.
the agenda packet, because when these were established, it was to be business friendly and keep them really low. So some of them can go up higher, so that's for your, decision.
I just thought if there was a way to make it, fair to everybody, because there's gonna be some businesses that might need more compliance checks than others, and if you charge the same fee, then it's not really fair for everybody, and at the end of the day, we don't want, if there is a big issue, our taxpayers to pay the burden of our extra police time or anything involved with it. Hopefully, that never happens, but you have to plan for the worst case. So that was an idea that I would appreciate, city staff could look into that. I don't know if you guys had any other ideas?
I'd like to see all the fees maxed out.
Mayor and council, I would just generically estimate you'd have a $500, it's $450. Whether you have 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 compliance checks in the city. Just
What's-
saying, that's my estimate. It would cost the city about $500 a year. It will, because we have them, whether we have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. Figuring, because we're gonna have 2 officers to do that at 3 hours. Whether, they'd be at 3 hours if we had 1, and, it's probably not gonna take more than 20, 30 minutes at each one, unless there's an issue. So just generically, anecdotally, that's kind of the number that I would work with as far as, when you guys are looking at fee stuff, is that $500 mark, unless we have more than, that 5 dispensaries to do compliance checks, well, then it'd probably be more than 3 hours.
So you think the $500 would cover it?
$500 will cover 2 officers for 3 hours, right?
Okay.
And so it's hard to tell, we haven't done them yet, but realistically, a compliance check is to go in and actually get that compliance. It shouldn't take, 30 minutes per. But as you know, if you only have 1, it's gonna cost the same as if you have, 6.
Sure.
So the $500 right now for the registration and the renewal, that's Minnesota state maximum? Just confirming that?
Sorry, I was looking up the
That's okay.
compliance.
The
statute.
cannabis registration, $500, and the renewal, we have it set at 500. Is that the state maximum right now?
So the state maximum is listed, or the state fee is listed. City registration fee can only be up to 50% of the state fee.
Okay, and that's what that means, or 50%. Oh, okay, so we're already covered either way.
On some of them, we are.
Okay,
But like, if you look at the cannabis mezzo business, for example, that application fee is 5,000, we're charging 500. We could go up to 2,500 for that. Does that make sense?
yes.
So some we can't go any higher, but some we can.
Do we know, is there more compliance or more in-depth compliance with these other ones that have higher cost? Is that something that we know yet?
No, I mean, I think most of the information I got was more on the retail dispensary side compliance. We had some somewhat direction on that.
Okay. Nick, what are your thoughts? Do you want to look at increasing the fees? Do you want to keep them the same? Do you want to look at more creative solution? What do you think?
Are there any data points where it's been an issue with time or with causing problems yet?
We don't know here.
So I would say until there's data to act upon of what the cost is that need to be adjusted or what the remedy is that would need to be adjusted, I would say see what happens then. We can, if these are the tools we have at our disposal, look at what we can do once we have a problem to address, if we have a problem to address.
And then the other thing to take into consideration for fee is, so we have Jaden Strand to go through the regulatory paperwork with them for their registration here. And she also has to go into the state of Minnesota's Office of Cannabis Management's portal to approve in their portal. And so there are a few steps that staff has to do internally as we look at like what all takes time.
Still at, if we don't have every fee that we can maxed out, we should max them out. Only because when we originally did all this, we were under the assumption that we would get some tax back to help with the costs of enforcement and everything else that goes along with it, so.
Still get tax revenue from them being a business in the city.
Yeah, property tax.
Suppose.
But it's, if, I think about it this way, there's other businesses that don't have any sort of compliance checks from us, or any sort of, you know, there's some that have some, but it's different with one business where they're just self-sufficient, we don't ever go there, versus one of these, it might be different, I don't know, maybe, I don't mind your, you know, wait and see idea either. I just know that it was a discussion that I kinda wanted to have, so, you know, going forward, we know, or are, you know, able to formulate a plan if it becomes a problem.
If it becomes a burden, I'm not against the city trying to address and recoup costs that are being put onto the public. But until we know if or when there'll be problems and to what degree, then I don't know how to really address that without being punitive or preventing people from wanting to open up a business here.
That makes sense. Give it a year, wait and see what we're dealing with and see.
It's a yearly renewal thing, so I mean, it's not a whole lot of time if you want to max everything out. I mean, it's not like it's a 5-year cycle or something.
Right.
Motion
right.
to recess?
Yep. Motion to recess by Councilmember Peterson,
Second.
second by Councilmember Heeman. All in favor of going into recess, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 3-0. We are in recess, and we'll pick up city council right now at 7 o'clock.